So you're telling me there's a chance? I'm sorry. Starting all the way back 12 years ago with his mixtape 10 Day recorded in his school studio, Chance was a hip-hop sweetheart for the longest time. If you're familiar with Chance the Rapper, then I don't even need to tell you this. He's gone on to release some incredibly iconic projects in music. Projects like Acid Rap, Coloring Book. There was a Christmas album. But somewhere in his journey to the top, Chance's image started to kind of change. As you know, when the general public sees you in a certain light, it's really hard to shift that. This all kind of came to a head with The Big Day in 2019. There were already rumblings before this album of Chance being corny and, sadly in hip-hop, being a positive, uplifting rapper, especially a couple of years ago, was not exactly seen as cool, wasn't exactly a good decision for your brand. And for a long time, Chance was able to balance the duality of this. But when it came to his debut album, The Big Day, everyone began to kind of turn on him. Sure, if you've been in hip-hop culture since 2019, I'm sure you've seen one Chance I Love My Wife meme around. Chance had always kind of had this a much more squeaky clean image than most rappers. He's always had a somewhat close connection in his music and what he talked about to religion, good morals, and just his persona in general was different than the majority of rappers at that time and even today, let alone the production and the performances on stuff like 10 Day and Acid Rap were just so ahead of their time and so unique. And if you haven't listened to any Chance the Rapper stuff, I would recommend check out, off of 10 Day, I'd recommend checking out Missing You or A Long Time. Really incredible production, really great rap performances, a lot of great substance. And this is his first project ever. You must have heard of a couple of songs off of Acid Rap. Something like Favorite Song, Chainsmoker, Cocoa Butter Kisses, Acid Rain. There's a lot of very iconic songs on this project, and arguably people would say this is the best Chance project. A very big part of Chance's whole brand is that he was the independent guy. He was essentially like the face of independent rap for a long time. And there was even some controversy there with people saying that he's faking independent, just using it as an aesthetic. And this became extremely true when Coloring Book dropped. I would argue Coloring Book is still a very high quality project, looking back on it especially, but even at that time, with stuff like No Problem, Angels, Same Drugs, Mixtape, All Night, Juke Jam, All We Got, a lot of incredible songs, but the scrutiny was high at this time. And despite there being a mixed reaction amongst his fans, this was a heavily awarded project, getting him a Grammy in 2017. And this is when it was undeniable that Chance was the industry's baby. He was a very commercially friendly rapper, unlike a lot of what was popular at that time. And that set him apart from the crowd in a good and bad way. It was really just the beginning of this shifting of Chance's perception. Instead of being the kid that took a couple tabs and made some incredible music, he started to become a good, squeaky clean Christian man. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely zero wrong with that. It's just people weren't exactly showing up to hip hop for preaching. It started to come off preachy. It was a bit of an image issue. Later on that year, he dropped a Christmas album, which if you have any interest in binging all of his albums, this one might be a skip. There's some good stuff on there, don't get me wrong, but it's a bit gimmicky, obviously. It's a Christmas album. And then he took a couple years off, the biggest gap in him releasing music since his first project. And when the rollout started, it became a very big deal. This is the first official studio release from Chance, The Big Day. The hype was through the roof about this project. A lot of pressure that Chance had put on himself. And so when it dropped, all of the rumblings and the memes about Chance kind of just went through the roof, mentioning multiple times on the project about how he loves his wife and just doing a bunch of quote-unquote corny cliches that Chance had acquired over the years. People did not perceive this album very well. And in my opinion, I'd say it was a good mix of the actual shortcomings of the project, but a lot of it was just the memes, right? It was just that the perception of him had changed to this point, and there hadn't been enough damage control to put it back in the right direction. So when this project came out, it kind of just ran wild with like Chance is corny, Chance is a positive rapper, Chance is all these things. That did not jive with hip-hop and still doesn't really jive with hip-hop. This was made even worse with the lead single, Hot Shower. Really, admittedly, it was popular and it was catchy, but admittedly, it was just a really bad song. It was just not good. It's really impressive that it even got past the cutting room floor. But despite this, there is a couple I could recommend. All Day Long, Do You Remember? Let's Go On a Run was one of my personal favorites. And Slide Around with Lil Durk and Nicki Minaj is just a fun track. Let me know what you think, because I personally would say the album isn't exactly as bad as the response and the turn on Chance ended up being. But I give you all these recommendations and I tell you all this because there might actually be a chance, no pun intended, that we're getting the redemption of Chance. So if you want to start binging the albums, it's a nice quick listen, and I can promise you it'll be for the most part very enjoyable just to get caught up on the lore. So about 2 weeks ago when we saw this news come out,
Chance the Rapper is splitting from his longtime love, Kirsten Corley. The musician and his wife take to Instagram to release a joint statement revealing their divorce. They write, quote, "After a period of separation, the two of us have arrived at the decision to part ways. We came to this decision amicably and with gratitude for the time we spent together. God has blessed us with two beautiful daughters who we will continue to raise together." They add, "We kindly ask for privacy and respect as we navigate this transition."
Everything had started to shift. It's like, oh my goodness, are we going to get the old Chance back? He's divorcing his wife? I saw a meme. I hope I can find it. It's like,
what? Oh, no. That's horrible. Jeez. I hope he doesn't take a step back from his faith and experiment with acid again. Oh, I just really hope his friends Action Bronson, Childish Gambino, and Ab Soul are there to help him out. I hear a studio is a great place to seek solace.
the narrative was that we scared Chance away from hip hop and that the big day kind of like ended Chance's career. But in actuality, Chance has been dropping a lot of music since the big day came out. He took a little bit of a rest, but around 2022, he started dropping very consistently. And there's actually some really, really good singles after that project. A real return to form. Literally with a song called The Return. A bunch of really quality projects, stuff like A Bar About a Bar, Wraith, a phenomenal track, Highs and Lows with Joey Badass. Really just showing that the chance that we love and that we want is still there. But it seems like maybe the industry has given up on Chance a little bit because a lot of these tracks, for whatever reason, just didn't get the same attention that all of his previous work had. He may have lost his like halo. And so the real question is, can Chance come back? Do you think that he just released Buried Alive, his first single, probably his first single for this new album. And it's quality Chance. It's a real return to form. It's honestly some really good music that he's consistently been dropping. And so I'm personally very excited for this new project coming out, Starline. So yeah, that's pretty much all this video is about. I hope y'all enjoyed watching, and let me know if you think that Chance can come back. Let me know what you think about Chance the Rapper. And yeah, that's about it. I love y'all. See y'all in the next one. Doses.
You know, Mort, I think you're beginning to grow.
Well, sir, I don't know how much value I have in this universe, but I do know that I made a few people happier than they would have been without me. And as long as I know that, I'm as rich as I ever need to be. So I'll catch you on the rebound, your magnitude. Until next week, Nanu, Nanu.